Show you some tips related to API keys in Uniform. API keys are what you use to interact with Uniform from outside the Uniform dashboard. So for example, if you've got a web app that needs to retrieve a composition from Uniform, your web app uses an API key to do that. Or if you're using the CLI to backup and restore personalization settings, the CLI uses an API key for that. So creating an API key is straightforward enough. You log into Uniform, you go over to Security, you go over to API keys, you click the Add button, you give the API key a name, and you can create the API key. What this does is it gives you the API key value, and this is the only time you're going to see the value. So you can make changes to the API key and what the API key has access to at any point in the future, but you cannot get back to this value again. Okay, so this is the only time it's going to show you. If you click on it, it's going to copy that value into the clipboard. But as soon as you click close, you're going to get a warning that this is the last time you're going to see it. Click OK, and now it's gone. So now I do have an API key. I've got an API key, but it doesn't have access to any project. So if I go into the API key, what I'm able to do is I'm able to assign it to different projects. So the API key itself doesn't do anything. It only does what you give it access to on an individual project. So there are two ways that you can assign permissions to a project. You can pick a role, which in this case I can't do because I don't have any roles, or I can use custom permissions. So if I use custom permissions, this is going to give me a link to edit the custom permissions. And then this gives me a list of the different permissions that I can assign to this specific project just for this key. Now, this is an okay way to do it if you want to assign permissions directly to a specific project for a specific key. You can go in here and you can select the ones that you want. So I can select these and then click Use Custom Permissions. And then I have to save the permissions in order for them to apply to the API key. But a more kind of scalable and maintainable way of doing this is by using roles. So I'm going to remove custom permissions. I'm going to save this. And I'm going to go and I'm going to define a role. So if I go into roles, I can add a new role. And the role is very similar to the settings that I just saw. The role has a name, so I can call this maybe admin. And in here, I can click the different permissions that I want to give to this role. And then the role is something that I can assign to multiple projects. So it allows me to define the permissions once and then apply them multiple times. Another thing to mention in here is if you click on a section heading, that will select or unselect all of the items in the list. So if I have a couple of these selected and then click the column heading here, the section heading, it's just going to invert those selected options. So I can do that at this level. I can also do it at the higher level. So Uniform Canvas, this is a way that I can enable all of the permissions in Uniform Canvas or remove them. And same thing for context. In general, you don't want to assign all of the permissions either to a role or to an API key through the custom permissions, but this does give you the ability to do that. So I can add roles, and in this case, I didn't actually add any roles, but now I've got this role named admin. I might want to add another one and call this read only, and maybe this is only going to have the ability to read a few of these different things. So now I've got a couple of roles. There are no users that are assigned to the roles, so I can go in and I can assign the role to the user, but I'm interested in API keys right now. So I'm going to go back over to my API key. And now for the project that I want to give access to, I can select from either admin or read only. So I'm going to give admin rights to this project. So now this key has access to this project and I see the role. So this is what I'm seeing on the API keys section.